Yes, people. What's going on? It's Eagle Talks Football, and we're back again with another video. And today's video is going to be a live match preview with an Everton fan in the house. We got Kieran Rants in the building. If you guys recognize Kieran Rants, of course, he is an Everton fan that's also been doing content in the past. You guys have probably seen his TikToks or his YouTube videos. Big up, Kieran. Welcome. First time on the channel. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You seem very happy. You just came back from playing some football. Relaxing.
Yeah, we're chilling, man. We're chilling. Obviously, on the Everton side of things, we're going to go into depth about this tonight. Not so good, but outside of that, we're positive. We're living the life, aren't we? So we're chilling.
There you go. Let's hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's get this show started, people. As you already know, bam. Yes, people. How's everyone doing? So, where do we begin? It has to begin from the moment Sean Dyche was hired and that previous game, absolute shock of the season where Everton beat Arsenal. From that moment onwards, surely you're saying Everton are no longer getting relegated. Arsenal are no longer winning the Premier League. Everything's gone flipped on his head. And guess what? A few weeks later, we're back in the same position. Arsenal's top of the table. Everton's still looking like they're somewhat in trouble. It's crazy, man. The Premier League is the best league in the world. What are we going to say?
I mean, I think this game's going to be a good indicator of where both teams are, because obviously I think Arsenal were riding a big high where they weren't losing any. Didn't lose any games, did they, before the Everton game? Bar, I think Man United, they haven't really had a big slip up. And Sean Dyche comes in, structures our team well, and I think your boys needed that sort of wake up call. I really do. I think that you needed a bit of character building, and because you were a bit toothless, weren't you? As far as I remember, when we were playing you were a bit toothless, and I don't think you had the sort of mentality to beat us. But obviously now, looking at that Villa game, looking at that, I think it was the Leicester game as well, you've looked like a different unit. Whereas Everton, we've looked good in patches. We've had good spells. Obviously, I'm thinking of that Arsenal game. I'm thinking of that. What was the other game that we won as well? How have I not remembered this? The Leeds game. It was the Leeds game, yeah. We looked good there. We looked good for a majority of the Villa game. But then we've had that game against Liverpool, and that game against Liverpool was nothing short of shambolic. And the game against Villa, even though we lost 2-0, we actually looked like we were in it. So we look like a much better team under Dyche. We're playing the same players, the same system. And the bottom line about Dyche is that he is playing a system which I think is working at the moment and is actually making us look like a team rather than a bunch of players who are just trying to fit in somewhere on the pitch. So
you know what? I recall jumping into one of your live streams where you were jumping up and down saying Lampard ball after you scored that crazy goal from like the beginning to the end, like at the end of last season. But since then, you guys have been on a massive roller coaster.
Yeah.
Like, and did you expect yourselves to be in this situation going into the season, or was the writing on the wall from the back end of last season? Because I didn't really think Everton were ever going to be in a relegation battle.
The thing is about Frank Lampard, right? There's two main factors here, which I think are which is why Frank Lampard didn't succeed at Everton. The main one being he needs good players. He is a player he's a manager, who was a fantastic player, obviously one of the best midfielders we've seen in the Premier League. And I always go back to what Thierry Henry said about his time at, the MLS club that he went. I think it was New York Red Bulls, I believe, where he said he just couldn't comprehend the fact that West players couldn't do or see what he was seeing. And I think Lampard's a little bit similar, where he can only coach some of the best players. So, when he was at Derby, he coached probably one of the best teams in the Championship because he had the best players in the Championship. Same with Chelsea. He did a relatively good job at Chelsea because he had the best players, whereas at Everton, he didn't have the best players. And at Everton, he unfortunately had to deal with absolutely crap players. And a second one was no out-and-out goal scorer. And the reason why Everton are in a relegation battle is because we've had no out-and-out goal scorer. Obviously, Richarlison left in the summer, which I think has been a really bad move for him. Obviously, he gets Champions League football, but 2 starts, I believe it is. Maybe even 2 appearances.
3 goal outputs the whole season.
Yeah, it's really bad. And Dan Juma comes in January on loan for Tottenham. So what's that saying about Richarlison, who, if he's having this little game time and another striker's coming in, how much is he actually getting used? Obviously, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, a lot of issues around
Spurs, him. Man. We know Tottenham. Come on. We know Tottenham. They're probably as bad as you guys at signing players. They just sign players and it doesn't work out.
Mate, look at Pedro Porro. Yeah.
Hey,
Pedro Porro.
The moment he came in, Emerson Royal chooses to be an actual footballer. It's crazy. But getting back to everything, looking at your season, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't expect you guys to be in a relegation battle again because I thought you guys were gonna fix your issues. But things are hella toxic at Everton. I don't think I've seen it this bad at Everton. It reminds me of West Ham when the fans jumped on the pitch and put the stick in the middle of the ground. That's kind of how you guys are. I'm surprised you guys haven't raided the pitch.
I know. Yeah, it's the thing is about Everton, the Everton fan base, and I don't really want to badmouth them because I feel like you shouldn't really be focusing on the fans because it's like Arsenal. All of Arsenal fans were absolutely on Arteta's neck, and as soon as Arteta gets results, they're not on his neck anymore. So if the results came, they wouldn't be on his neck. But
the loudest fans are always the ones that are on somebody's neck. The quiet fans are the ones that believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is about Everton's fan base is we've had 27 years of, I would say, nothing short of a disgrace. 27 years of no trophies, of no sort of positive atmospheres. I think we've had, well, to quote Bill, we've had good times, quote unquote. We've had some decent cup runs and we've had some decent, times under Moyes and whatever. But we've never been a truly great team. We've not been the Everton team of the 20th century where we were dominating in periods of, time like the 80s and even the 90s. So the thing is about Everton is our fan base, every time the results don't go our way, and you saw it on the Rafa, you saw it on the Lampard, you probably saw it on the Marco Silva as well, you probably saw it on the Koeman, saw it on every manager bar Carlo Ancelotti, post David Moyes, has had the fan base turn on him because the results don't come sometimes, and it's a hard job. It's a really hard job. And I think that's what killed off Lampard near the end. And tactically, was he good enough? No. Were the players good enough? No. And were the fans right to turn on the manager? Potentially so. If you're losing to Southampton, you're losing to West Ham, you are going to get sacked and the fans are going to turn. But yeah, it's really hard. And I feel like actually under Dyche, the fans have been quite good, I think we've gave him a good chance, but I am a bit hesitant because it was like this on the Lampard where we were very positive with him. And I don't really know how it's going to turn out, but we'll see, won't we? You know what I mean? I don't know what's going to happen next week with our team. Never mind next season. So
you know what? I'm just going to go to that Everton-Arsenal game because that Everton-Arsenal game I felt like was going to be a turning point for you guys. I thought that was going to be an opportunity where you guys were going to kick on and like those tactics that you used against us in the Everton game. I mean, in that game at your ground, I don't think you could use those same tactics at our ground. I don't think you guys can set up the same way and try to basically, especially if Dominic Calvert-Lewin's not in the game either. So you really don't have no forward threat at all. He really wasn't a threat in that game also. You guys could have easily scored 4 to 5 goals in that game, but no clinical edge. You still got the one goal that you needed. This was the way you set up. If you set up the same way, you know what we're going to do? We're probably going to play Jorginho and Partey and rest Xhaka.
Okay.
And then take out Eddie Nketiah, put Trossard. So we're going to have more technically skilled players on the pitch.
Yeah. Okay. I see that.
It's going to be a situation where you see Odegaard picking up space here. You're going to see Partey playing in here. And you're going to probably have Jorginho in and around here. You're going to have Zinchenko almost tucking in as another midfielder.
Yeah.
Yes.
What you'll see is if you start Trossard in that sort of false nine role, what Trossard will try and do is drag out probably Connor Cody or Tarkowski. I would probably bet on Cody getting dragged out, and then that leaves then space for Martinelli to run into or Saka to run into. That's probably how you're going to kill us off is through Trossard, sort of bringing out one of our centre backs, and then Martinelli coming in.
That's how the goal happened. The goal was Gabriel passed to Trossard. Trossard was over here. He passed it to Martinelli. Martinelli got in.
Yeah. I think the remedy for that for Everton would be starting a 5-back and having Ben Godfrey man mark Trossard, for example. because he'd be quick enough and he'd probably be physically dominant onto Trossard. But you know what? I would start. This is wild. I'd start a 5-5 for Everton.
This is the predicted lineup based on what you have available and what we have available. I would be shocked if you guys went with this setup. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if you guys went with this setup right here.
The thing is, we've started that team every single game. Swap out Mopai for Sims on that Liverpool game, and we've started that exact team for the last 4 games.
Let me know, people in the chat, what do you guys think about this team? Some people saying Everton are parking the bus. Another guy saying Trossard's the bus driver. Saying this is a bigger game for Arsenal. I definitely do agree it's a bigger game for Arsenal. Big ups on the road saying thumbs up, people. Make sure you hit those thumbs up. Hit that like button right now. We got 18 of you guys in the chat. We only got 3 likes. Make sure you hit that like button right now. But I'm looking at your team. I'm saying the midfield of Doucouré, Idrissa Gana Gueye, Onana, that's a really strong midfield defensively.
Yeah.
And you guys got legs in that midfield, so you'll be able to cover. How much McNeil and Iwobi will actually be able to get forward, we'll have to see, because the guy who was causing us the most trouble was Onana. I don't know if Onana can have that same kind of game that he had when Thomas Partey is back, because I'm not going to lie to you, I'm taking Xhaka out of this team, but we're going to talk about that in a second. Xhaka's going to come out just to be rested. He's played a lot of football. Give Partey's fit, put him back into the squad. Trossard's going to probably start over Eddie Nketiah again. And I don't really make any other changes. I keep the rest of the team the same. And then, so you're gonna have Odegaard, Jorginho. I'd put Partey in this position. So you now have a situation where on the left side, which is probably, what is it? It will be. He's gonna have Martinelli, Partey, and friggin' Zinchenko. He's probably gonna be defending more than he's gonna be attacking.
Yeah.
On the right side, Bukayo Saka, he's gonna be getting double up from these two the whole game. So really and truly, you guys are not going to really be attacking at all. The only person who's going to be attacking is Onana, if Onana can get forward or Doucouré can get forward.
Yeah, I think it's not going to happen, but in my mind, the only way we can stop Arsenal from scoring is by playing a 5-5 without having no striker. I've really not been impressed by Mopai or Sims, and it sounds radical, and it is, but Doucouré and Onana in the games we've played on Dyche have been running into the box and being able to get into those positions where the strikers have been. All the striker is there for is to do a high press. And Mopai, what I will say is redeeming quality is he does press the ball quite a lot. So I'm not sure whether
he hates Arsenal.
Yeah, he does hate
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Hate that guy. That guy is our public enemy number 1. If you don't know.
Lockdown Arsenal versus Mopai was
it was definitely a movie. But the question is, who should start for Arsenal in that midfield? If it's between simply Jorginho and or Partey, I honestly need to know what people in the comment section think. People in the comment section, let me know what you guys think. Who should be starting in the Arsenal midfield? Because I've seen a lot of people debating who should start, what we should do. And I'm going to ask you, what do you think? What do you think you'd prefer to face? Would you prefer to have a Jorginho Xhaka midfield come against you, probably a weaker midfield, or do you think a midfield that has more physicality in Thomas Partey and Xhaka, or a midfield with more technical ability in? That's where I'm going with. I don't know what to do.
Well, you'd put in Zinchenko and Trossard, wouldn't you, coming in if for a more technical sort of side, wouldn't you? I think the way Arteta should set out is having Thomas Partey, and then I know you've been saying a lot about Xhaka, so he probably will get rested in this game, and it makes sense. Obviously, you're at home on the surface of it. You are against Everton, who are in the relegation zone. But I think the question is, how much of the ball are you going to have? And you are going to have about 70, maybe even 80% of the ball in this game. So I think having Partey and Jorginho in the midfield would make a lot more sense for you, because...
What about this midfield from Ake, saying Jorginho, Xhaka, and Odegaard?
I don't know, because The reason is because Partey will be in there to stop Decore and Onana. Now, I'm not sure if Partey started in that game against us last time, but he did. I feel like you need a physical presence in there to try and stop Onana and Decore. Now, I know Partey didn't have a great game against us, but there could be many reasons for that. I think the best chance you've got is probably a midfield of Partey, Jorginho, and Odegaard. And maybe there could be an idea of putting Zinchenko into that midfield role. And then I know we sort of did this anyway with the inverted fullback, but how's Kieran Tierney doing? Because what you can do is bring in Zinchenko in if you need to rest Xhaka, and then have Thomas Partey, Zinchenko, and Odegaard. And what that then allows you to do is on the left-hand side with Tierney, is have Tierney and Martinelli overload Seamus Coleman, because Iwobi defensively is not the strongest, so you want to be overloading that our right-hand side and your left-hand side. So if you've got Tierney and Martinelli bombing on forward with Zinchenko in there to support on a more technical basis, or with his balls into the box, or his just technical ability in general.
Let me just stop you there. You wanted to know how Kieran Tierney's doing. I'm going to talk about Jesus in a second. I'll save that for later.
Yeah, go on.
Would you take Kieran Tierney because he's for sale? Kieran Tierney could leave Arsenal in the summer. Mikel Arteta, I don't know. I don't think about that. What's best for the team. Players have the right minutes, which they all deserve. We're trying to do that in the next games. So basically, there's rumors that Kieran Tierney is not happy with the minutes that he's getting, and he's linked away to Newcastle for £50 million. He's been linked away from the club all year, pretty much, since he hasn't been getting much game time. And he's now basically the third choice left back. If you don't know, Tomiyasu is the backup left back, and the backup right back is also Tomiyasu. So he's basically the backup in both positions. And the starters are Zinchenko for left back, and the right back is Ben White. So at this moment in time, it seems like he's third choice left back, and that's all he can do. He doesn't play center back anymore. He doesn't really play anything, and he really doesn't offer anything. And even when he comes on as a bit part role to close out games. So it's like, I don't think he starts in this game, and I really don't think Kieran Tierney is a player that we're gonna have getting a lot of game time in the foreseeable future. The way that we play, he doesn't suit our game style. He's very much get to the byline, whip it in, where we have somebody who's more tuck in and work with the midfield and work with and let the left winger go out wide. And you stay on the inside to try to receive the ball and recycle. So would you take him for 50 million?
Oh, not 50 million. I wouldn't be paying anything above 25. Injury records is not all there, and we've had a history of players who've had a really bad injury record. Now,
I hear that.
The reason why Everton are conceding so many goals is because of our fullbacks. We've got an aging Seamus Coleman who has been exceptional on the Dyche, but he's Seamus Coleman who is 33 years old. Should he be started? No, he should be retired, like Leighton Baines. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those situations where we haven't been able to replace him, so that's why he's still playing. So we still need a right back. We still need a left back. Now, Kieran Tierney would be an amazing player for us because, as you said, he goes to the byline, he crosses it in. That's exactly what Dyche wants. He's the Dyche player. He probably is. But the problem is 50 million for me is too much.
Newcastle can have him. Newcastle are leading the race right now, so 25 mil is ridiculously cheap. That's not going to happen. But anything between 35 and 50 makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, he's just not in our ballpark. He's too good for us. He will go to a team with ambition and a team who are in the Champions League.
I personally, hear me out, I don't want to sell to Newcastle because I could see Newcastle being a problem in the next couple of years. So I don't want to sell any players to them to improve them. Where if I was selling to a Fulham, I don't care because I'm not going to look at Fulham as a problem.
I hear that. Yeah. I understand that. Newcastle are going to be in the Champions League, aren't they? They are a real threat, probably to you eventually. They will be, in and around that area. So, and Tierney would start for them more than likely. Dan Burn is not going to be their starting left back all the way through, is he? You know what I mean? Likely he's going to come in and play a centre-back role when they do get a left-back in. But, it's interesting with Tierney. It's a shame, isn't it? Because he was one of them men who were sort of standing by and really fighting for the badge back in the lockdown days. Because I know the lockdown days were bad for you lot, weren't they? You know,
bro,
him.
we didn't win games. We didn't win games. People talking about Smith Rowe switch for Xhaka. Smith Rowe just came back, bro. You think he's gonna start right away? I don't think so. People saying Smith Rowe's the new Aaron Ramsey. Nah, come on. Smith Rowe literally had one injury, and it's been a long-term injury. Once he gets back, we'll see how many times he gets injured. But yo, Arsenal's still top of the league. Gabriel Jesus is been one of our best players, and he's been out this whole time, and we're still top of the table. Guess what? He's back, bro. He's almost back. In 20 days, he'll be back. He's training now by himself in the first team. Reports coming that he's stepping up. He's as he mentioned on his social media team. Rumors have it that his ankle, his knee injury has recovered. He's fully on the pitch now at London Coney, training with the first team, and he could be back on that game against Crystal Palace. So he's about 3 games away from making his return to Arsenal, which is about 2.5 weeks away from playing. He's going to be playing under 21 games until then. But this is massive news. Great news for Arsenal fans that the guy's back. And honestly, what do you think now that he's going to be coming back? Do you think we walk away with the league now?
Well, I'm glad that he's not playing against us. I really am. He's a quality player, isn't he? And I think what he provides is just an extra option, because Arteta needs to diversify the way he plays. And I think he's doing that with Trossard now in a false 9. He's doing that with Jorginho as well. The way also Arteta is going to win the league is by diversifying the way he wins. You're going to have games like Leicester where you win 1-0, but your XG is 0.01 against. I mean, how good was that? You know, you're going to have games where it's going to be a 4-2 against Aston Villa. You're going to have games where, you know, you're going to have to fight and dig in a bit more, or you're going to score a few more goals. And Jesus is quality. You know, he will be a striker who will win the Golden Boot one day because he's that good. Ooh. He will get that many goals because he's a 20-plus goal player, isn't he? Really?
I don't really view him as a goal scorer, more of a overall creator.
Yeah.
Like, he will get you goals, but that's not his main role. His main role is to just unlock everything. You know, in those games where you have a low block and you just need somebody to help get everyone facilitated, that's the guy he is. You know how Haaland, he's just a guy who stays there and gets the goals and just keeps getting goals?
Yeah.
You need a guy like Jesus around you to help your like, say, for example, Bobby Firmino for Liverpool. Perfect example. He's similar to that guy. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer, but he just does everything else that everyone else around him does. You could see Bukayo Saka and Martinelli start getting into 20 goals this season.
Yeah.
Because of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's just about diversifying, isn't it? You've got Nketiah, obviously he's not going to score every game, but he's more...
Nketiah would start for you, my guy. No disrespect.
Hey, mate, anyone would start for us right now. Don't worry. He is like... Nketiah is a solid mid-table team striker, so he's not like top table.
Mid-table, bro.
Yeah.
Eddie, bro. Eddie could surprise people. Eddie's on the trajectory. He's a slow learner. Give him time. I honestly do believe Eddie Nketiah could be like, say we win the Premier League this season, right? And Eddie Nketiah has been a decent part of the season. Next season, say he pushes on, because the guy is still only like 25, right?
Yeah.
And he goes from being an out-and-out backup to somebody who's playing in the Champions League, playing in the Premier League, rotating and being a big part of the team. He could be a serviceable part of a squad. Not every single player needs to start every game.
Yeah. You know what, though? I'm looking at it and I'm saying if I'm Eddie, I'd be going, because I rate Balogun a little bit higher than Eddie. You know, Now I'm not sure. I'm not sure about Balogun's situation, because if I was Balogun or Eddie, I'd go, I want to go and move to a team and be the star player, a bit like Tammy Abraham did. You know what I mean? I think they're the same sort of level as Tammy Abraham. Now they could go ahead of Tammy Abraham.
I think Eddie's better than Balogun. I think Eddie's better than Balogun.
Okay. Yeah. Why is that?
Reason being, I've seen both of them play in the Arsenal setup, and Eddie Nketiah is more physically built. Balogun is more like pace, technical ability, might be a little bit better than Eddie Nketiah, where Eddie Nketiah can handle the physicality of the Premier League, is more ready to help a team now, where Balogun is like, he still needs his training wheels. Like, this is a guy who was at Middlesbrough and he could barely get involved.
Yeah. Okay,
So
I see. Is Balogun more of a it's just I think Arteta. This is going to be one
wow,
of the
people
questions.
disagree. People in the chat, let me know who's better, Balogun or Eddie Nketiah. I'm not saying ceiling because people are saying ceiling. Balogun could have a higher ceiling, but Balogun is currently on fire. I get that, but who is currently, if they were put in an Arsenal game against Everton at home, who do you think would deliver? I think Eddie Nketiah is more likely to actually put in a decent performance because he's able to deal with the physicality of the Premier League. I don't think Balogun's ready. I personally, I rate the French league, but not to the level of the Premier League. It is
Yeah, it's
completely
not the same, is it? Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, Balogun would probably get about 12 goals in the if he was starting week in, week out, he'd probably get 12 to 15 goals, Balogun. And I'd probably say the same about Eddie. I think they're very similar. And I think this is the question that Arteta's
I
going
think
to
if
have.
you put Eddie in that French team, he scores 20 goals easy.
Ooh, maybe he'll have to go out on loan then, won't he? give him a little shot. Let's have this experiment. I'll tell you now.
Opportunity. You never know, man. Ian Wright came to Arsenal at 29. He became an Arsenal legend. I'm not saying Eddie Nketiah is going to become an Arsenal legend, but I'm just like, I feel like people write the kid off too soon.
Yeah.
He's hungry. And that's one thing you need to improve. You always need that hunger and desire to improve every single year. And that's one thing he has.
Yeah.
He has that eye to improve.
I think FIFA has got everyone the idea that if you're above the age of 20, you're no longer a youngster, and now you are going to be, you can't grow. Whereas I think the opposite is true. I think it's more 23, 24, maybe even 25. There's a reason why you hit your prime at 25, because that's when you're fully mature. That's when you are the complete player that you will be. And obviously you have some amazing youngsters like Dele Alli who burst onto the scene and then slowly decline. But then you also have people who, obviously through their younger years are a bit shaky and then go on and progress to be a brilliant player once they're older. And I think Eddie, for me, looking right now, he may not start in many teams, but come 3-4 years, he'd be a solid option for a Europa League, maybe even Champions League team. Same with Balogun. And Arsenal have got a lot of good strikers on their hands, which I think is a big question that Arteta's going to be having in the summer of who does he keep, Balogun or Nketiah? But that's a separate discussion, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I think we're gonna find out the answer to that in preseason, as one of my buddies was saying right now in the chat. Honestly, there's not a lot more to talk about when it comes to the Arsenal news side of things, besides the fact that Fabrizio Romano once again talking about contracts with us. We needed to get these contracts sorted out because we had a situation where Saka has a year left. Martinelli has a year left. Martinelli already just agreed a new contract, so we're good with him. But now William Saliba is another one we have to worry about. Now you must be impressed by how good this kid William Saliba is, because a lot of people didn't know about him before he came to Arsenal. Saint Etienne, highly rated. People thought Fofana was good at Leicester. This guy was rated higher than Fofana, and he's just showing what he's worth. I think Saliba right now is £100 million striker, easy. And there's no way we're not signing him up to a new contract. I don't have any fear that we're going to lose him this contract. I think if anything, it's 4 years down the road. He's 21 years old, starting week in, week out in a team that could potentially win the Premier League. Next year, he's going to be the Champions League with Arsenal. There's no debate that this guy's going to stay. The only way he leaves is if someone like Real Madrid or PSG out of nowhere bid like a ridiculous amount of money and he wants to go.
Yeah. I mean, he is at one of the best teams in one of the best leagues. So there's no need for him to leave, is there really? And he's another one who's really peaked at a young age, hasn't he? Arsenal are cooking for the next few years. And I think this is why a lot of people are probably scared of what you're going to do. You've got the likes of William Saliba, Saka, Martinelli, who's just been tied down to a new contract. I could go on. You know what I mean? You even have some youngsters in the likes of Smith Rowe and Nketiah who are, players who, yes, are not starting every game, but they are going to have quite a high ceiling. And they are going to be players who are going to be at a top level. And the fact you've got a squad like that already, I mean, the future is looking really bright for Arsenal. And I think Saliba.
You're gassing us up too much, man. You're gassing
us
up.
Well, you know what? I may as well, because my God, I can't say the same about Everton. I mean, I'm fixing Everton on career mode all the time. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing all different strategies, trying to find out what to do. Whereas if I was Arsenal, I'd just let it go, because you've got you just saw.
Let me just read this so we can move on from the Saliba part. So negotiations continue between Arsenal and William Saliba over a new contract. The next priority after Saka's deal is almost done is understood to be Saliba wants to stay, and ongoing talks, details of strategy, details of salary structure, and the deal is not yet final stages yet. So at this moment in time, we're still trying to get that done. Thunder Roads here, legend of the channel, says, Iga, ask Kieran what happens to Yerry Mina, Ben Godfrey, Michael Keane, and Mason Holgate. Whatever happened to them?
Cool. Right. I will do some quick fire ones right now then. Yerry Mina is a centre-back who a lot of people say is our best centre-back. I don't think that's the case. A lot of injury problems, never fit, a bit like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. His contract's running out in 6 months. He will be leaving Everton after being here for 3-4 years. Ben Godfrey suffered with a big injury at the start of this season. Obviously, a very key player under Carlo Ancelotti, I would like to think. Really versatile player, can play left-back, centre-back, right-back. Still think there's a future for him. However, I don't know. Because he's just coming back off a long-term injury, which has been 3-4 months. We don't know what's going to happen this season. Michael Keane is simply not good enough. Under Carlo Ancelotti, he had a lot of flaws in his game. And under Carlo Ancelotti, he did absolute wonders, by the way. He had Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, and even started Mason Holgate. That defence was not good enough. It's as simple as that. They had their time, and they just weren't good enough. Mason Holgate, it's a bit of a sad one with him. He was a right back for West Brom, comes into Everton. He gets played at centre-back because he's always wanted to play at centre-back. I think it's a bit like Maitland-Niles, to be fair. He's always wanted to be, whereas Maitland-Niles wants to be a centre-mid rather than a right-back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, Holgate obviously wanted to be a centre-back, so he started playing at centre-back. Clearly not a centre-back. I really think he could be a competent right-back. I really do think he could be a solid defensive right-back. But the problem with him, I think he's a bit immature and he doesn't have the maturity to his game. It's as simple as that. You can see it in his attitude. You can see it in him chewing his gum. Who else chews gum? You don't see any of the Arsenal players doing that. You don't see any of the City players doing that in game, do you? He's got a bit of a cocky attitude to him. And he's probably just not good enough either. So that's what's happened to all of them. There is going to be a major reshuffle in our team because I think Holgate out of contract. Yerry Mina is out of contract. Michael Keane's got probably a year and a half left now. I think so. Has Mason Holgate. So a big rebuild is going to be happening at Everton over time. It's just about whether Dyche does that rebuild or we end up in the Championship and we have to start all over again.
Let's play a game. Let's play a game. Let's play a game of keep, sell, or loan. Right?
Okay. All right.
Keep, sell, or loan with the Everton squad, and it has to be quick fire. We can't take too long. So Pickford's keep, right?
Yeah, keep. Yeah.
I don't know who this goalkeeper is.
Begovic. So for my second choice goalkeeper, I'll just say I want someone who can save penalties. He's only saved 2 penalties out of about 30 penalties. I think we've had.
So Coleman's a keep, I'm assuming.
Yeah, unless he wants to retire, I'd let him go.
John Tarkowski, keep.
Keep best player.
Keep.
Yeah.
Keane, sell.
Get him gone.
Yerry Mina.
Yerry, sell.
Holgate.
Mason, sell. Yeah, get him gone. Ben Godfrey, I'd keep. Ruben, I'd get rid. He's on loan anyway. Miko, I don't think he's good enough, but we're gonna have to keep him. I think he's a backup at best. Same with Patterson. I think he's a backup at best for now. Garner Gay, keep, but we'll be going in about a year or two anyway. Decore, probably keep. I don't know. He's got 6 months left on his contract. It depends what the plans are. Iwobi, I'd keep. Think he's good enough. Davis is gone. I'm not going to renew his contract. Dwight, really like him, actually. I'm going to keep him.
You know what? I met Tom Davis. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, but he's fucking dumb, isn't he? Like, on the pitch, he doesn't know what's going on, does he? Lad, he comes on instead of Onana. Watch tomorrow.
Tom's a nice guy, man.
He'll come on in the last 10 minutes for Onana, and I'll turn the TV off because it is done when he comes on.
I had high hopes for the guy, but he was never going to make it to England level.
The thing is, though, with him, right, is he is an attacking midfielder, and we were playing him in defensive midfield role. It's just not going to work, is it? He is an attacking midfielder, but he's got no pace now, so he's lost it. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate for him.
You know what? At least he can always go back into doing something else with fashion or something.
Yeah, he'll do some modeling, won't he?
James Garner, is he on loan?
No, we signed him for about 12 million. He's been hit with a long-term injury. He's going to be back in about a month. Real shame with James because we could use him right now, and he's a good player, isn't he? So, yeah.
And what happened to these guys? Injured.
Yeah.
Neil Mopai shit.
Neil Mopai, right, is a winger. I'm not having that he's a forward. He is a winger. He's a winger who presses the ball. That's all he can do. I refuse to believe
he's not a striker.
He's not. He can't. He's not built like a striker. He doesn't finish like a striker. He doesn't.
What about Damari Gray? Why doesn't Damari Gray play? He's like he's your best attacking player.
No, I've been trying to think about this. I don't have any clear reason, but my thinking behind it is Dyche likes to play wingers who are not like Damari Gray. He likes to play wingers who will come in and slot in at centre mid, and you know he's always about this whole idea of yardage and this idea of always making sure the centre is covered. Dwight McNeil and Alex Iwobi always come into the centre and always play as an acting centre mid when the ball's on the left or the right. Whereas Damari Gray is more an out-and-out attacker. He's a dribbler of the ball, isn't he? He wants to attack the defence rather than cross the ball in. He's just not a Dyche winger.
But he's your highest goal scorer this season.
I know. And the thing is he is clutch in moments, but the only way I'd see him playing is playing as a striker. Other than that,
you know what? He'd be better than Mope.
Oh, I think he would. Yeah, I think he would.
And yeah, you know what? You also have a bad head-to-head when it comes to our ground.
Yeah, your ground.
You actually beat us in 2021, but that game was messed up.
Which sorry, yeah, but we
the protest game.
Oh, that one. Oh, that was mate. Bernd Leno mistake. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Hey, look, we had Fabian Delph. Look at that team.
This game was a mess. Bro, look at our team. Look at our team. We had Rob Holding, Mari, Callum Chambers, Ceballos, bro, Pepe, Eddie Nketiah started that game. Xhaka was left back. What the fuck was going on in that game? People, this was shocking. I think this was who was the manager them times? Mikel Arteta and Ancelotti. Them times people were saying, how the hell did Ancelotti go to Everton? You guys were doing good. We were looking shit. And I'm not going to lie, that was a howler. Own goal from Leno.
The whole thing about Ancelotti's reign is he did so well because there was no fans in the ground. So we had a really impeccable away form. And James Rodriguez was just taking gravy.
But to look at the last time, since friggin' 2011, you never beat us at home. That was the last time you beat us at home.
Yeah, I'm surprised it's even that. I thought it'd be longer, to be fair. I really did. Yeah, it's... I mean, Arsenal are a very...
Last year, we fucked you guys up at the end of the season.
Oh, mate, we were all still hungry. If I look at our team, we had Begovic. Look at that team. John Joe Kenny, Bram Thwaite, Dele Alli. Yeah, we were fucked up.
The game was so crazy. Cedric scored a goal. You know the game's crazy when Cedric scores a goal. Mate, Cedric, he got an assist.
Yeah, he was man of the match.
That's crazy. Yeah. The actual, you know what? We didn't really care that game. Pressure was off. No one really gave a shit that we won.
And I think Arteta in that game just wanted a response. I think the guys were like, right, we're just gonna what we made of. You know what I mean? Are we just gonna go and crumble here and not even put up a fight?
Yeah, that lineup gave me PTSD. Also,
the funniest lineup I'll ever see for Everton is the one against Stoke like 4 years ago. But the funniest one for me is the one where we won the derby. That is the worst lineup I think I've ever seen off an Everton team. We had Andre Gomez and Tom Davis in the midfield, right? With Sigurdsson.
And you won the derby.
And we won the derby with a midfield of Sigurdsson, Gomez, and Davis. Tell me Carlo Ancelotti is not a magician. Ow. I mean,
you know what? Sometimes great managers can pull off great results. But I'll tell you this. The worst lineup I've ever seen in an Arsenal game has to be Crystal Palace. I don't know if it's at home or if it was away, but it was a Crystal Palace. Mm-hmm. We lost. I think this is unanimous throughout the whole fan base. The whole fan base probably will agree that this Crystal Palace result was the worst result in our the worst lineup in our history or something. It was 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 3-1. Palace or something. Was it 3-1 Palace or
Was this
3?
under Emery?
It was under Emery.
When
Right?
when you were pushing for the Champions League?
I think it was 3-0. Was it 3-0?
I'm not sure. I can't remember. But was this when you were pushing for the Champions League and you crumbled in the last month?
Oh my God. Even
Emery.
under Ozil days, we used to get slapped by Palace. Palace used to always give us problems. But there was one game specifically that I recall. It was horrendous. It was horrendous. We lost last year to them, by the way, 3-0. Like they messed us up last year.
Oh, Jesus.
Palace have messed us up in the past. But when it comes to what was the score, I can't remember the year, but it was 2019.
Okay.
The game ended, the scoreline ended 3-2. They scored 3 goals. We scored 2 goals. This was the lineup. Let me show you. I found the lineup.
Wow.
You're gonna laugh. But after this, we're gonna do the score predictions, by the way. You had Leno, Mavropanos, Kashani, Mustafi, Carl Jenkinson, Elneny, Guendouzi, Kolasinac. That was our midfield and back 5. Then you have a front 3 of Lacazette, Ozil, and Aubameyang. So you basically said we're gonna have Ferraris in the front with at the time with Aubameyang and Ozil, and Lacazette wasn't too bad, and the rest of the team was just dead.
Yeah.
This team lost 3-2.
That's a Mourinho team. Look at that. 2 deep defenders in 2 deep defensive midfielders in Elneny and Guendouzi, and wow, that is bad. I've never heard of that left centre back the one who got subbed off at half time. Clearly didn't impress, did he? Hey.
Bro, the guy was an Arsenal fan. He wasn't even a footballer.
I wouldn't be surprised.
It was a make-a-wish. Carl Dickinson was a make-a-wish player, bro.
They're like Harry Winks, isn't it? Harry Winks just playing because he's a fan. Honestly.
Listen, enough said. People, give us your score predictions now. Time for score predictions. I'm not going to lie to you. I had thought about this a lot. And I've said to myself, we are not conceding. Especially with the fact that you guys struggle to score goals. We are not conceding to you guys. At home, with the way that we play defensively, we are going to shut up shop. We're going to do our best to keep ourselves from conceding. And we're going to win this game, I think, 2-0. That's what I'm going for. I think it's going to be a 2-0 victory for Arsenal. Let me know what you guys think. Terrence Tibbs agrees with me. He's saying 2-0. We got 3-Pointer TV saying 3-0. We got Omar saying 3-0. We got George saying it's going to be a 1-1. What are you saying, my guy?
Probably a 0-0. That's the best I can hope for.
Listen,
I'm trying to think if we've got any centre backs who could play striker and be a target man. But outside of that, we're not scoring. You know what I mean? We are in the mud at the moment. So if I was a neutral, I'd bet on 4-0 here.
4-0 Arsenal.
It sounds like I'm trying to jinx it here, but you're at home. You are a team which is against Leicester 0.01 XG, and you went against Leicester. You're going against Everton next. Lad, it's going to be zero. We're going to break the record. It's going to be 0.00. It's going to be nothing. We're going to have no XG. We're going to have no shots. Yeah, I mean, listen, if Everton pull out a result, I'd be really shocked. And that will, if we pull out any sort of result here, we are staying up. Okay, it's as simple as that.
If you guys pull a result at the Emirates, I will be shocked to utter misbelief. I'm not going to lie to you. I will be shocked. But you know what else is shocking? Arteta's record versus Sean Dyche. Arteta's record versus Sean Dyche. The guy, ever since he got into management, Sean Dyche somehow has his number.
Bet on a 0-0. Bet on a 0-0, man. That's the best you can do.
No. You know what it is? This season, Mikel Arteta has broken every record.
Yes,
he broke the record. He broke the record versus Liverpool, where we've been losing to Liverpool consistently all the time. I think he's now going to have Sean Dyche's number.
Probably will. And listen, I'd never go into this saying, "Oh, we're going to lose," but we are being realistic here. This is an Arsenal team who are top of the league. Have only lost twice this season. Yes, against us, but also against United. Those 2 losses only came away from home, so they didn't come at home. I think they were unbeaten in the Emirates for God knows how long. You know, they're probably beaten until last season. You know, go on, have you got the record for that?
You got Leicester fans here telling you Sean Dyche is better than Rodgers.
Oh, he is. Yeah, I don't rate Rodgers. I think he's lucky to even be in the job.
Let me
He
just
should be.
ask you.
Go
Let me
on.
just ask you. Do you think Arsenal win the Premier League? Because if we beat you, we go 5 points clear of City with the same level of games.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think Arsenal do win it?
Yeah. I hope you win it as well. I really
Oh,
do. I
nice.
really do. I mean, why I hope you win it is because of Arteta, and I think if you win it, it really backs up the idea that you should back a manager, and that's
I
what I like
like
about it.
that.
That's
I
what I
like
like. That's
that.
that's why I like the narrative, because obviously you can say United, but it's United, and Ten Hag hasn't been in the job for too long. You can say Man City, but that's boring. I mean, they would win 5 out of 6 titles in the past. I mean, that is insane. So I think it's a testament to everyone that, yes, you have to spend money, but, if you invest right, and let's be blunt here, I think Arteta has had one bad season of transfers, but those transfers got him through that period of time. He then bought better players, developed certain players, and Arsenal are a team who will be dominant within the next few years. I think Arsenal will be there. I think United are now going to be there. Man City, I think they will drop off. I think they'll have a drop-off season next year. I don't even know else is going to be cooking, but I want Arsenal. I want Arsenal, yeah. I really do. I really hope for Arteta. I really like it to happen.
You know
You know what
what?
I mean?
I don't want Everton to get relegated either. But the people who do you think is going to get relegated? Because now that we've spoken about the Premier League top spot, who's going to get relegated? Because you guys are shaky waters,
Yeah.
shaky waters. Now I'm just going to go down there for a second and just look at
Uh-huh.
it. Like, I know it must give you PTSD just looking at the table at this point in time. Because but we got to look at it. So we've looked at the top of the table. Arsenal, Arsenal is gonna be 5 points clear of City after this weekend. Hopefully, if we beat this week, if we beat you, and then after we play you, we have Bournemouth at home also. So that could be another win. So it's looking good for us. But you guys, Everton, bro, it's tough, man.
Yeah,
Literally.
I mean, go on.
No, go ahead. Take it away.
The Saints are dead and buried. They at the moment are only 3 points off, but they are a team which lack any sort of experience in dealing with relegation. And they're a team who, if they went down into the Championship, would actually benefit more going down because they'd come straight back up. Nothing's ever guaranteed. But look at that team. None of their players, bar Ward-Prowse, would leave. They would then get in 1 or 2 experienced heads of the Championship and they'd dominate. Absolutely dominate. Bournemouth are going to go down. I think Bournemouth are a team which, again,
They're a yo-yo team.
they're a yo-yo team. They lack that experience, not only in the manager, but in the players. And it will, I mean, look at their results right now. They won 1 game there. They've drawn a few, granted, but, they've won 1 game. Southampton have won 1 game in the past as well.
Let me just stop you right now.
Go on.
Leeds, West Ham, Wolves, Leicester. How far up do you go for the relegation candidates?
I think we go up all the way to Crystal Palace.
What?
Seriously, man. Right, that sounds a bit crazy. The reason I say Palace is, yes, they are 6 points ahead, right? But Palace haven't won a game this calendar year. Palace are a team which lack ideas and lack a bit of identity. Unfortunately, Vieira seems to have a bit of second season syndrome. Now, will they get relegated? No. But that's 6 points, right? I don't know about Palace's future games, but Palace are a team which, if they don't get their act together soon, they will be 16th soon enough because West Ham will win a game.
Listen to this comment from John. John says, big up John, member of the channel. He says, I wouldn't want Everton to be relegated. They're second to us. They're second to us in the longest team to participate in the top flight without being relegated. And I don't think you've ever been relegated since the Premier League has been since the new English top flight has been formed. So
we've not been relegated since 1952.
Yeah, we haven't been relegated since we've been promoted to the top flight.
Yeah,
I don't remember what year that was either.
I think if Dyche gets if we continue under the trajectory, which I think Dyche will, I think we'll finish around 15th. I think the one that is going to go down will be Leeds. I think Leeds are going to go. I don't think their manager has the experience to and see, there's a common theme here: experience. And that is what I think relegation battles come down to: is how calm can you keep your heads, and who's got the most experience in this scenario. Leeds, Bournemouth, and Southampton, they aren't going to have any pressure put on them either as well. I think Leeds might, but Bournemouth and Southampton are going to have no pressure on them if they get relegated.
You know, I got a crazy shout.
Go on.
Look at Wolves' goal difference.
Yeah.
Like, they don't concede much goals, but they don't score nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a similar goal difference to you. Look at Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Goal difference. I think goal difference is as important as points on the board at this moment in time. And some of these teams that have 24 goal difference, they could easily get relegated come the end of the season.
I think Forest could go down, yeah. I really do. I think I look at this right now, and I think West Ham and Everton will actually finish above a lot of the teams that we're looking at right now. Now, that's me being a bit optimistic, but West Ham have been underperforming their XG, and all the underlying stats indicate that West Ham are going up. So I think West Ham will be out of it. Everton, we've won 2 out of 4 games under Dyche. Okay.
Let's see what people in the chat think. People, let me know. Who do you think is going to get relegated? Southampton, Bournemouth, and who else? People, start giving us your votes. And also, don't forget to hit that like button. We're going to wrap up the video right now in the next 8 minutes. So let us know who's going to get relegated. So you're saying, put your neck on the line, my guy. Put your neck on the line. Say it. Everton are not going down.
No, they're not. They're not. We're finishing 15th, I think.
You say that. No,
but I you know what? I even see Leicester going. I don't see Leicester going down, but Leicester at the moment lack identity.
People saying Leeds.
And the thing is,
I like Leeds. Personally, I like Leeds. I want Wolves to go down. Wolves need to go down. We need to get ourselves some Jotas, some Jota 2.0s. Oh, I need to see Ruben Neves get out of that club. I need Ruben Neves in a top club. He's a top player. Also, Declan Rice, West Ham. If West Ham get relegated, woo, everyone's got to go.
With West Ham, right? The funny thing about West Ham is if they go down, it would literally, it'd be beautiful.
Chelsea.
It's Chelsea. Hey, listen, this is the thing about Leicester, and I was going to go on to it. Leicester could go down because they didn't realise what situation they're in. They're 3 points off Everton, right? I know it's if, buts, maybes, but if we would have won that game against Villa, we would be on the same points as Leicester. How mental is that? Relegation level Everton would be on the same points as Leicester City. That is a mental. They're in it. Leicester are in a relegation battle, but the problem with them is they don't think they're in a relegation battle.
1 second. We got a Leicester fan in the chat right now. George, do you think you're in a relegation battle? Let us know. Because if I'm not mistaken, George told me on the week they didn't even try. They want the manager sacked. They've wanted him sacked for a long time. So if they get into this relegation battle, it'll probably kickstart their season and they can sack the manager.
I genuinely, I would not be surprised if they go down. I don't think they are, because I think there's worse teams. But I really wouldn't. They've got a manager who I don't think is tactically on it anymore. They've got a really leaky back line. Danny Ward, I think, is championship level. Right back spot, I don't even know who's playing there as at right back. Centre backs, they've got a Suter who's from Stoke City, championship level. They've got Fies, or whatever his name is. He's just Sideshow Bob, isn't he?
You don't even have to tell him. He's telling you it's a shocking team. We're below. Teams are below Leicester. It's shocking, the teams that are below Leicester. Yeah, they're shocking too. What happened to Leicester's recruitment? We don't know. What happened to Everton's recruitment? What happened to Southampton?
We never had recruitment. Let's be blunt.
What happened to Southampton? Southampton used to be Liverpool's feeder club.
The thing is about Southampton is they got a little bit too carried away with this whole youth policy. Now they're a really well-run club, but they need experience in that squad, and they really forgot to bring in a bit of experience, because you're looking at their squad right now. Really good recruitment, but not good recruitment for staying in the Premier League. It's good recruitment for business, because all them players they've bought, like Lavia, for like peanuts, right, will be going for millions of pounds. So business-wise,
this is a hot take.
Go on.
Do you think this is a hot take? This is the toughest Premier League season ever, in my opinion. This relegation battle will go down. Will be on the history. Will go down in history.
Yeah, I think so. Look at the difference between 13th and 19th is 4 points.
Crazy.
4 points. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is that? 7 teams? Am I
That's mental.
maybe 6 teams who are potentially getting relegated, and all you could get relegated. So with Everton, right, we've got you, Forest, Brentford, right. If we win 2 out of 3 games, we're level on points with yeah, probably not. Yeah, maybe a bit of a stretch for you, but against Forest away, even though they've actually got an impeccable home record, to be fair to them. But my point is this: we win 2 games, and we are where Forest are right now. If buts, maybes, I understand that.
Would you? Do you think top 6 teams are entitled? Because like I see Chelsea fans complaining about their position, Manchester United fans rioting about Finney being 6th. What do you call it? City fans wanting their manager to sack off a bunch of players because they don't win the Champions League. When you see our problems, don't you look at those and be like, "Yo, you guys are rich."
Well, every club has different problems, and it's like every person has different problems. So, you know, a League 2 team will be complaining about potentially going bankrupt, and I'm here complaining about our team getting relegated. It's totally different. So I understand the whole entitled part, because I think there are certain fan bases who they do forget the position they're in. And what annoys me a little bit about top 6 sides is that they don't enjoy it sometimes. I understand if you're a Chelsea fan right now, you're not going to enjoy it. But if you're like a City fan, how can you not enjoy watching your team play all the time? That's where I get a little bit annoyed. It's like, you've just got to enjoy those moments a little bit more. And I think when Everton go back to the top, which I think we will, you know, I'm being maybe not the top, but, you know, when we go back to, you know, fighting for Europe, or being in the, you know, European night, you know, I will probably use this and say, you know what, it's not that bad. Winning at home every time at Goodison. It's like the Carlo days. Now I look back in nostalgia. Yes, we didn't have that many good games. Yes, we had awful games. But, you know, in them games where we did play well and we did have a good, you know, real good go at them. So a prime example is losing 1-0 at home to Sheffield United was an awful day. Because that stopped us from getting any form of European football. Bear in mind, we're only 1 point off getting European football under Carlo, right? And that point would have, well, those 3 points would have got us in. Whereas, you know, so that's a bad time. But then we also had a great first part of the season where we won 1-0 against Chelsea, 1-0 against, I think it was 1-0 or 2-1 against you. We won 5-2 against West Brom. And there's some brilliant games. And you think Big 6 fans have just got to remember the good times that come with, obviously, being a Big 6 club. That's what annoys me. Yeah.
You know what? You got a really fair point there, man. You got a really fair point there. You kind of stopped me there. But you know what? I am going to try to enjoy it more, because I'm so stuck on looking at players and like saying we were poor in the first half or we weren't good enough, but then we win and there's so much critiques and not enough just sitting back and saying, you know what? We did good today.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes I sit there and I find myself being the one that's defensive and being the only positive person in the room, where there's a lot to be happy about with Arsenal fans, but there's still so much people who are miserable.
And I understand that that's sort of football fans. You know, you are nervous because that's your challenge now. You're going for a title. Of course, you're going to be nervous going into every game, and you're going to have, Jorginho didn't play well today, or this player didn't play well today. And we've dropped 2 points, or we've dropped a point, we've dropped 3 points, whatever. And that's sort of part of the excitement of being, you know, in a title fight. But then sometimes, you know, when Troops is a prime example of this, where he overreacts over the littlest of things. That's where you've got to watch your mouth. That's where I think you've got to go, right, we're in this situation where we are fighting for the title. We are sort of privileged to be worrying about a bad performance. While you're worrying about one bad performance, I'm worrying about where the goals are going to be coming in. But while I'm worrying about where the goals are going to be coming in, a League 1 or League 2 fan is worrying where all the money's going to come in and whether they're going to be able to actually stay up as a club due to financial worries. So we all have our own problems. Just got to remember the context of those problems.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And you know what? We got referee issues, but we're not going to talk about that today. You guys have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. Big up my guy, Kieran, for coming on. Hopefully you guys go check out Kieran's channel or TikTok whenever he does get back up and start uploading videos. And you guys have yourselves a great day. And you know what? I'd love to have you on in the future, man. I really had a good conversation and enjoyed the conversation thoroughly with you today, man. And big up to everyone in the comment section who's enjoyed it. Give a round of applause to our guest. Hopefully he comes on in the future. And you know what? It was a great stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm out of here, bro. Big up Kieran for coming on also.